Greetings everyone, and welcome to the IDW Sonic 2022 Annual. For those who don't know, IDW Sonic Annuals are big specials containing a number of stories focusing on world building that the main comic doesn't have time or room for. It's also a way to showcase new writing and or artistic talent to the series, alongside some of the established veterans. Usually the annuals are centered around a theme. The first one, back in 2019, didn't really have one unless you count world building in general. 2020's annual focused on untold tales of the metal virus. Yeah, it and that saga in general was awkward that year. And last year, to celebrate Sonic's 30th anniversary, a special was released set in the world of classic Sonic. I still consider it the 2021 annual, since to me, it meets the criteria of one. Multiple stories, world building, introducing new talent, and centering around a theme. The theme for this year's annual? Unlikely pairs. That's right, we are having characters who don't normally hang out with each other, hang out with each other. Before we begin, I'll be placing a spoiler warning for not only this special, but for every issue and special up to and through issue 51. Alright, let's get started. We begin our first story on Blaze's world, where our favorite Firecat princess boards a pirate ship and quickly decimates the crew. She interrogates the head of a robot pirate about the whereabouts of their leader. The pirate said that she just destroyed their remnants. The leadership, including Captain Whisker, Johnny, and even Min and Mum, are gone. Blaze just couldn't believe she took out all of Captain Whisker's forces. Later on the Ocean Tornado, Marine says now that the seas are free of robot pirates, Blaze should take some time off and get some R&R. Blaze, though, still has a duty to her empire, the Soul Emeralds, and the Jeweled Scepter. She does not want to abandon it, even if it's for a little while. Marine wonders who can convince Blaze to take a little break if she can't. We then cut to Blaze using the power of the Soul Emeralds to transport to Sonic's world, specifically Angel Island. She wants to ask Knuckles, a fellow Guardian, should you honor your duty as one, and is it okay to just step away for a little while? She provides him with some additional context like how her ministers run the bulk of the administration. She just has to look at the paperwork. That doesn't mean she's negligent. She uses her free time to hunt down robot pirates, but now they're all gone. As far as Blaze is concerned, her world, for the moment, is at peace. The topic switches over to the Soul Emeralds. Unless Blaze is using them, they're usually kept in a secure case under heavy guard. Knuckles wonders if they can be moved to a more secure location, with Blaze adding she could increase the guards. With those factors in mind, Knuckles shares his opinion. Take a vacation. He mentions that whenever he leaves the island for the greater good, it's always a risky gamble. I mean, the last time this happened, the main villain of Sonic Heroes temporarily took over the place. But Blaze's situation is different. With no villains to fight in her world at the moment, and the ability to take precautions, she should take advantage of this opportunity. Blaze admits it was nice seeing everyone again during her last visit, even if it involved fighting badniks. After thanking Knuckles, she heads back to her world to make the necessary preparations. In the Shrine of the Jeweled Scepter, Blaze's attendant, Gardon, reports that ships will patrol the island at all times, and the guards will be tripled. No one but Blaze and Marine will be allowed access to the chamber. Speaking of, the two say their goodbyes. While Blaze invited her to come along, Marine declines. Somebody has to stay behind in case trouble happens, and she can always call Blaze back with the power of the scepter. And so Blaze teleports herself to Cream's house, where she, Amy, Sonic, and Vanilla are currently having a tea party. Pairing up Blaze and Knuckles was genius. I don't recall the two of them hanging out within a mainline game. Sure, there was the racing games and the Olympic games, but mainline games? Well, there was their first meeting in Sonic Rush, which involved some conflict over the Soul Emeralds, but they seem to have buried the hatchet after Cream taught Blaze the value of friendship. Then there's the DS version of Sonic Colors, since both appeared in that game, though I don't know if that really counts. And finally, there's Sonic Generations. I guess Sonic's party would be a good place to converse about guardianship. To bring this back to the IDW continuity, where most of the game events took place, the last time these two hung out in any capacity was when Blaze joined the others in liberating Angel Island from Neo Metal Sonic. Even if Blaze never knew of Knuckles' guardian role beforehand, she would have definitely found out during the events of that arc. She would also see Knuckles in a new light afterwards, a kindred spirit bound by duty to guard his land and a magic gem. No wonder she went to him about taking a vacation when things were looking good in her world. So yeah, it seems all of Captain Whisker's forces are gone at this point. Presumably Whisker, Min, and Mum went bye-bye as portrayed in Sonic Rush Adventure. Johnny ran off at the end of that game, but apparently Blaze tracked him down and destroyed him. I assume since the robot pirate says he's gone, along with Whisker, Min, and Mum. Then again, the robot head could be telling a convincing lie to Blaze, and there are robot forces waiting in the wings, planning to attack her empire when they're ready. Blaze has nothing to worry about right now. She apparently has the Soul Emeralds on her person, and she has her guards looking after the Jeweled Scepter, along with Marine, who makes her IDW Sonic debut here. She's not as annoying compared to her game or Archie counterparts. She was the one that originally told Blaze to take a break and seek a second opinion on the matter. She even volunteered to help keep an eye on things while Blaze is away. I wonder if Ian Flynn toned her down on purpose. In the past, he's made it no secret that he disliked the character. To wrap this up, the story shows that it's okay to relax from your lifelong job for a bit, provided you plan ahead of time. I think it's a lesson many of us should follow. And I have to say, the art from Adam Bryce Thomas and newcomer Joanne LaFuente seriously made Blaze even more awesome by just having her walking on lava. She probably bathes in the stuff back home. And one more quick note, based on Amy's dialogue here, this story appears to be set sometime after the events of Trial by Fire. Speaking of referencing things from past issues, remember near the end of issue 36 where after Tails and Bell fix E123 Omega, Tails suggests that he and General have a little sparring session to test things out? This story picks up from that point. The two begin sparring, and while General has the speed advantage for the moment, Omega shrugs off his attacks and strikes back. He comments that under Eggman, General fought Sonic to a standstill, and now he's considered pathetic. He thinks it's due to caring for Cream, so he makes the following offer. Join him in his crusade to destroy all of Eggman's robots, become strong again, and ditch the puny rabbit family. Omega just made a big mistake with those words. As General strikes back, he says what he did in the past doesn't matter. His main objective now is to watch over Cream and Vanilla. The two then charge for a head-on collision. That evening, they return to Tails' workshop a little worse for wear. On the bright side, the two have gained a better appreciation of each other while beating each other up, so there's that. We have the debut of writer Daniel Barnes to the franchise. His previous works include The Black Mage and Agretsuko, and according to his website, his inspirations include anime, 90s video games, and Saturday morning cartoons. In other words, he's a perfect fit for Sonic. I've also read somewhere, possibly on Twitter, that Ian Flynn was another source of inspiration. We will see more of Daniel's work in the upcoming Scrapnik Island miniseries coming this October. And wouldn't you know it, it will also feature some old Eggman robots. Which brings us back to this story. It highlights the different paths two former Eggman robots went. Omega turned on Eggman because his potential was wasted guarding Shadow's stasis chamber, and vows to destroy all of the Doctor's creations to prove himself superior. General, though, first turned on Eggman thanks to all the battle damage he sustained fighting Sonic, and ultimately became the final boss of Sonic Advance 3. Afterwards, Tails reprogrammed him to be the kind-hearted support robot to the Rabbit family. It helps that Emerald's data was used in his construction. The differences between the two don't stop there. Besides the obvious size difference, Omega is committed to his goal of proving himself superior, and as such, sees all as weak, including General. At first. Even before they go all out, he does show some respect for him thanks to his actions in the past, thus the offer to join him in his crusade, and shedding the weakness that is the Rabbit family. General doesn't see protecting the rabbit family as weak. In fact, hurting them in any way will unleash his wrath. See Exhibit A. General also sees himself as evolving, even though he was reprogrammed by Tails, while Omega remains static. Basically, one fights to be the best, the other out of love. But ultimately in combat, they're evenly matched, as this panel demonstrates. Daniel does a good job of making something a little deeper out of a story that's pretty much an excuse to show these two robots beating the crap out of each other. And what better way to gain respect from your opponents than engage in some good natured brawling. And the art is not afraid to show the aftermath. That's the thing with damaging robots in general. You can get away with injuries and maiming that would be horrific if it was done to an organic being. Look at it this way, Tails. At least repairs won't be as extensive like last time. It's funny that the previous two stories had a connection to Cream the Rabbit in some way, because now she's the star in our next story. Vanilla drops Cream off at Hero Camp, with the latter hoping to learn what it means to be a real hero. She won't be alone because also attending the camp is the Sonic Fan Club. Hero Camp doesn't look that well put together. The reason is, the camp is actually a plot by Orba and Cubot in an attempt to get any information about the restoration from the kids. Disguising themselves as camp counselors Orville and Qbert, they welcome the children and says their knowledge of heroism will be tested during their stay. The first activity, not fun, oh I get it, has the children tied up under the impression that the hero has to find a way out of tight spots. Cream easily does that thanks to a sharp piece of wood. She's heard how Sonic can cut through rope with his spines. The next activity is building a replica of the restoration. Orba and Cubot ask Cream if the structure is accurate to the real thing. She says it's missing a few key areas, namely the mall, the play area, and the chili dog stand. So this endeavor's a bust. That night, the robots try to get the kids to talk about some scary new badnik in the form of a ghost story. The kids would rather make s'mores instead. Orba and Cubot doesn't know what they are, and this causes Cream to call the two out as fake counselors. She leads the kids in the attack against them. The next morning, the kids prepare to leave the camp. Vanilla asks if they had a good time learning to be heroes. What Cream and the fan club learned is, they might already be real heroes, and we end with Orba and Cubot tied up with a s'more as a parting gift. We're introduced to Irish writer India Swift, who is also an artist and animator. In fact, she worked with Sega Hardlight, Sega of Europe's mobile development studio, the ones responsible for the likes of Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces Battle. I would not be surprised if she had a hand in those games. Despite being an artist, she did not do the art here. That was left in the hands of Abby Ballmer and Heather Breckel, both of whom worked on previous IDW Sonic material. Speaking of previous material, we have the return of the Sonic Fan Club, last seen in full in the 2020 annual, though most of them were Zombots. Glad they got better. We did see the president at the Spiral Hill Glad to Be Alive party in issue 31. Cream was there too, and she could have gotten acquainted with the club members before Eggman crashed the party. So is it going to be a tradition that annuals set in modern Sonic's world would feature these guys? I don't mind it if that's the case. A nice touch, probably because Abby worked on the last story featuring these characters, is the continued rivalry between the president and the vice president in the background. As for the plot, it is silly. Orba and Cubot trying to get intel about the restoration from a bunch of kids under the guise of a summer camp. While kids can be clever, we definitely saw it when Cream figured out the ruse, I don't think they'd be privy to highly classified stuff. Cream would have been the closest one to get any intel out of, since she often visits the place, according to her. Okay, the Sonic Fan Club could have visited the place as well. I understand the fan club wanting to learn to be heroes, but Cream, she's already experienced what it's like to be a hero on numerous occasions. To be fair, she's still a kid, and you can always learn more. Having said all that, the story has a certain charm to it. How often do you see the likes of Cream the Rabbit face off against Eggman's 2 robotic lackeys. Based on the tone alone, I can easily see this as an episode of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Just replace Orbi and Cubot with Scratch and Grounder, and Cream with Tails. You know what? I can't get mad over a Cream-focused story. It's all about having a good time. The kids sure did when attacking Orbi and Cubot. Suddenly, I'm reminded of the Camp Krusty episode from The Simpsons. And finally, I'm glad they admitted that Restoration HQ is also a mall. Our fourth tale begins at Restoration HQ's back entrance, where everyone is harvesting food from Silver's Victory Garden. Your eyes are not deceiving you? Silver is here. While everyone is having fun picking food and causing mayhem, Silver seems a bit uneasy. He takes off into the woods to be alone. Except he's not. Espio followed. He can sense the trouble in Future Boy. Silver admits he's not here for the harvest. In fact, he doesn't know why he's here this time. Every time he's gone back to the past, it's to fix a bad future, and he's able to narrow down the cause because it's history. Now everything seems fine, but he has this feeling, a fear that something might go wrong, and it's freaking him out. Espio shares some of his wisdom. As a ninja, danger could come at any moment. And if he allows fear to consume him, he's already lost. To counter that fear, he puts his faith in himself and the strength of his friends, and advises Silver to do the same. While he doesn't know why he's in the present at the moment, he is where he needs to be, and he's got friends waiting to back him up. Silver thanks Espio with this awkward hug before they head back to the harvest, and they better hurry before Charmy the Potato King wreaks havoc. As a follow-up to Victory Garden from the 2019 annual, Evan and Gigi take the time to do a little deep dive into Silver. Where we last saw the guy, he returned to a future that seemed like a paradise. No fire or ruins at all. And yet, here he is, back in the present because his something's wrong in the past sense is tingling. The thing is, he's not wrong. Based on who's present at the harvest, the story would have been set between the events of Test Run and Trial by Fire, and during that period, Starline's creation of Surge and Kid is well underway. Now chances are I'm going to be wrong about this, but I'm going to narrow down the time frame a little further. I'm going to guess this takes place probably sometime after Zeddy Hunt, since if Silver was around during that time, he could have helped stop the Zeddy invasion of Restoration HQ. Anyway, because Evan's the current main writer of the series, I would not be surprised if she inserted Silver in at some point during the Surge Rampage arc, or whatever the arc will ultimately be called. Or perhaps there's something afterwards that would require Silver's assistance. For whatever reason, the story is here to show that he didn't just pop out of nowhere just to be a Deus Ex Machina. Now let's go deeper as to why Silver is here despite getting a good future. I think it's because he doesn't feel like he belongs there. All his life, he's grown up in disaster after disaster, necessitating traveling to Sonic's time to try and fix things. He's been a fighter his whole life, and when he finally got that peaceful world, he doesn't get a chance to enjoy it. He might not even know someone in that good future. So he went back to Sonic's present to continue to fight alongside Sonic and his friends, because he's better acquainted with them at this point. There is also the possibility that the good future has a dark secret. We'll see whether or not this will be addressed later. We also get a little peek into Espio's mindset, that he has control over his fear thanks to trusting himself and his friends. That's what allowed him to succeed in a one-on-one confrontation with Zaz during the climax of the Metal Virus saga. The story has a good message. The future isn't set, and there will be challenges to face. All you can do is believe in yourself and your support group. Also, it's okay to paraphrase City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. For now, Silver, enjoy the success that is your Victory Garden, before more mayhem ensues. Don't want all that food to go to waste now. This story begins with Jet chilling in his room, and what a mess it is. The guy really loves himself, and is that a torn picture of him and Sonic? Anyway, he's heating up a calzone while reading a belated birthday card from his dad. Hey, a game character having a family member. Unfortunately, once the calzone is done cooking, a scion wisp appears and steals it. But it's not just any random wisp, this is one of Whisper's, just bringing her something to eat while she prepares to snipe a giant badnik. Jet arrives and angrily accuses them of not only stealing his food, but costing him precious gem stealing time. His yelling attracts the attention of the super badnik, and it captures him. Jet has Whisper ride his airboard in order to save him. Whisper struggles a little, prompting Jet to ramble on about how he's incredibly gifted and so on and so forth. Whisper's so annoyed by Jet's constant rambling that she actually yells before shooting down the badnik. Jet, still trapped in the hand, is impressed with how Whisper handled the badnik and offers her a chance to join the Babylon Rogues. Whisper declines. She has better things to do. And all Jet gets in the end is a partially eaten calzone. Ian Mulchler is the writer of this story. I have mentioned him before when I talked about his Sonic Forces character Ian Jr. back in my Imposter Syndrome #1 review. But for those who don't know, he's a storyboard artist that worked on the 6th episode of Sonic Mania Adventures, the Team Sonic Racing Overdrive shorts, and even the first episode of Tails Tube. This also marks the debut of Natalie Haynes, at least when it comes to doing interior art on a Sonic book. She has done some covers in the past. This is definitely an unlikely pair. The loudmouth narcissist Jet the Hog, again, look at his room, and the quiet, stealthy Whisper. This meetup wouldn't have happened if not for that Wisp stealing Jet's calzone. I'm siding with Jet on this one. Stealing food from someone else is not cool, especially if it's a calzone. Those things are delicious. I understand Whisper getting hungry while hunting badniks, and it's probably not the first time her Wisp buddy snatched food from random places, including other people, but this is Sonic's world, not Planet Wisp. I'm sure on Planet Wisp they have no problem picking food from wherever they can find it. Hold on, what do Wisps eat? Do they even eat at all? Anyway, on Sonic's world, unless there's a tree with food on it, stealing them from other people is wrong, even if you're stealing from thieves. They gotta eat too. The giant badnik. I would not be surprised if Mulchler was inspired by Eggman's giant robot from the second Sonic movie. It was a surreal experience seeing Whisper riding an airboard. Before you mention why she didn't use her Wispin hover ability, she needed laser mode to shoot it down, and I didn't see any tall enough trees she could land on. It also looks like the robot was moving a bit too fast. As for Jet offering her a place among the Babylon Rogues, it was oddly nice of him, but is that how it works? You impress the leader and you can join his crew just like that? Now for its placement in the timeline. I'd like to say it's before Whisper's first visit to Spiral Hill Village in the 2019 annual, since the two don't seem to recognize each other. After what happened at the Mineral Museum in that annual, Whisper would know about these guys. She pointed this out in the aforementioned Glad to Be Alive party. This was a strange one, but like Hero Camp, there is a certain charm to it, though I am against stealing food or anything else in general. Our final story has Rough and Tumble in an abandoned building in Spiral Hill Village. They're arguing over how to get their rhyming intros just right, or else people will laugh at them. We actually saw this process back in Bad Guys issue 3. Rough wants to brush that aside for the moment so he can focus on a plan. Tumble instead wants to iron out the rhyming intros first before discussing the plan. The argument gets a bit heated until Rough just forces Tumble to leave. That night, Rough and Tumble, independently, go to the Mineral Museum to steal a recently discovered Chaos Emerald on display. They both just happen to see each other about to take the emerald, along with their new partners, Rouge the Bat and Tangle the Lemur. The girls trick the two into fighting each other, and we learn how each of them got a skunk brother as a partner. Rouge just happened to be in the neighborhood when Tumble flagged her down and told her of the plan to take the emerald so it wouldn't fall into Eggman's hands. Likewise, Rough practically begged Tangle to work together to protect the emerald, though according to Tangle, he really wanted someone to boss around. As the Skunk Brothers fight, they realize they had the exact same plan to trick a hero into helping them steal the emerald. As a result, they make up and are ready to throw down with Rouge and Tangle. Tangle easily takes them out and restrains them, but the true winner in all this is Rouge, who makes off with the emerald. Yeah, earlier Rouge tricked Tangle into thinking they'll work together against Rough and Tumble, only for Tangle to do the hard work so Rouge can steal the emerald no problem. At least Rough and Tumble made up, so there's that. This is the first time Aaron Hammerstrom has done writing work for IDW Sonic, and in terms of unlikely pairings, there was a lot of comparing and contrasting. For part of the story, we got a guy and a girl pair, both with R&T names, and one's a villain and the other a hero. Ruff seems to have gotten a better deal by having Tangle, because, you know, her main trait is her tail and all that. Another thing to compare and contrast is the antagonist duo versus the heroic duo. The brothers may have their disagreements and, rough patches, but the moment they're on the same wavelength, they make up and get back together. Rouge and Tangle may seem like they're on the same side, but when it comes to precious gems, the experienced thief, treasure hunter, will backstab her naive companion at the opportune moment. For the record, that's always been my beef with Rouge. You want to give Tangle a hug after all that. She did the hard work, but failed to save the emerald. I think the lesson we can take from this story is communication matters. Also, if you find a Chaos Emerald, hide it, bury it, do something that prevents it from attracting thieves. And that's it for this year's annual. It was an interesting experience going through all those stories featuring unlikely pairs. Some of them had deeper meanings, and others were just silly. And even the deeper ones had silly moments, but I still enjoyed all of them to some degree. I kinda want to see more unexpected encounters in the future, either in the main book or spin-off material. With that, have a good day everyone. Charmy? What are you planning to do with those shears?